Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the PSBlue Podcast, available everywhere. This is episode 21. I'm joined again by my lovely co-host, Adonis. How are we doing today?
We're doing great. It's football Sunday, so I've been watching a lot of football, including my own teams, and just kind of getting ready for the podcast today. So I feel absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I kind of had a chill day, too. I watched a lot of football as well, played a lot of Baldur's Gate 3 and Liza P. What about you? Is there anything that you're playing that we should know about?
Mortal Kombat 1. It's all I've been playing. It's the newest installment of the Mortal Kombat franchise. You know, Mortal Kombat is super, super close to the old red thing in my chest. Yeah. So I've just been playing a lot with it. It's a brand new game, a new system. It introduces a new assist function to the game. So have delved deep into it, trying to figure out all that I can.
Yeah, we'll get into that. It's actually one of our topics in a little bit. We'll talk a lot of Mortal Kombat 1. I'm happy to hear that it's really good. It's tempting. It's tough for me to spend $70 on a fighting game that I know I'm just going to gloss over, even though it's really, really good. I did play 11 in preparation for this episode just to get ready, but you're going to have to share play it, Mortal Kombat 1, with me at some point.
Absolutely.
At some point.
I'm ready.
I do remember you mentioning to me that you said you were in a honeymoon sort of a relationship with the game right now. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Well, I think when it comes to fighting games, it's really important to establish a certain level of uncertainty with the game. Meaning, a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, with any game, fighting games included, are quick to rush to judgment. Oh my God, we need to get a hold of the devs. We need to tweet at the developers. We need to let them know to patch this, change this. Guys, it's only been out for a week. The lifespan of these games are a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. You've only had the game for a week and sometimes even days at that. And I think it's really important for people to understand the game, even deal with the quote unquote broken stuff, and just try to figure out ways around it and figure out ways to get better. So the honeymoon phase is essentially getting to know the game better.
Better than 11? Just yes or no?
Yes.
Really quickly.
Resounding
Wow.
yes.
Resounding yes.
Yes.
That's
absolutely.
exciting. Adonis, before we dive in, I wanted to ask you really quickly how you felt last week's episode went, your top 10. If you didn't listen to it, go check it out because there are some great games on there and just some great memories and stories that Adonis shared with the world last week. So how do you feel like it went? Because I feel like it went very well. Just curious.
The only thing that I was truly a little disappointed in myself about is that I couldn't have found a space on that list for God of War. Not for it to be an honorable mention, but to be a part of my top 10.
You mentioned that a couple times.
Yeah, I just played Ragnarok, and it was great. God of War 4 won Game of the Year. And so that was the only thing that kind of upset me a little bit, where I'm like, man, Adonis, you could have really found a spot to squeeze it in.
It's my number one.
Yeah, I know.
Did you know that?
I figured it was.
Yeah, it's my number one. I put a video out, like the first video I ever put out on our YouTube channel, top 10 PlayStation games of all time. This was before
God of War.
Yeah, it was and I was such a skeptic about that game. I was such a skeptic about that game because I was into the hack and slash versions of God of Wars 1 through 3. Anyway, you won our quote of the week for your efforts last episode. Did you know that?
Uh-oh, I didn't. But
congratulations. It's a very, very, very prestigious honor. During your top 10 list, there were a bunch of quotable moments, but this one was my favorite. Last week, Adonis said, in regards to the original Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, quote, those lobbies put hair on your chest, man. Those lobbies were insane. And not to toot my own horn, but I was pretty damn good. You get kids from age 8 to men that are in their 50s and 60s talking trash to you. End quote. Anything you want to say reflecting back on this before we dive into our topics today?
No, it's exactly as I said it. It was the glory days. It was the heydays. It was the golden age of multiplayer FPS gaming. A lot of kids are now the respectable adults they are today because somebody, somewhere, told them expletive, expletive, expletive. You're not any good at the game, expletive, expletive. And because of that, they're now productive human beings of society. So you can thank Modern Warfare 2, since apparently all these fighting games are the way these kids, I tell you, the fighting games, the first-person shooter. No, that game made me a better human being.
Yeah, that's very, very well said. I am scared of multiplayer first-person shooters now to this day. I don't want anything to do with them. You know, like I said last week, I'll dabble here and there, but it's quite the undertaking to dive into one of those multiplayer games. Overwatch, I played, and Overwatch 2.
Overwatch
very
is good.
Anyway,
I love Overwatch.
Today's topics include Mortal Kombat 1, Red Dead Redemption 2 Next Gen Update, PS5 Remote Play updates, and more. We're going to dive right in, Adonis. First topic of the day, Red Dead Redemption 2 Next Gen Update. So this is courtesy of GamesRadar.com. They pretty much say that Microsoft expects a Red Dead Redemption 2 PS5 and Xbox Series X upgrade to release in the next year or so. It was supposed to come out, they say here, last year. This isn't a quarterly report. Some stuff got leaked from Microsoft. Another topic that we have, we'll talk about one of these leaks. But yeah, it's really relevant because we were just talking about Red Dead Redemption PS5 and how I hadn't finished it. It's on your top 10, so that's why it came up. I hadn't finished it, because of this. I was waiting for a next gen update. It seems like it's been in the works. Maybe it got put on hold, or they had some difficulty, or they just switched gears to GTA 6 or whatever else they're working on. But yeah, it hasn't come out. It seems like it's in existence at least. What do you have to say about this?
Red Dead Redemption 2 is a game that's been highly regarded. Obviously, it was in my top 10. But you know how Rockstar is. Rockstar is going to they're going to let you enjoy your game first, and then they're going to give you an update. Hopefully, however long this update takes, I don't think anybody's too worried or too impatient, right? It's okay. I don't think we're going to have another iteration of that game for a while because GTA 6 is slated next. So I think with this upgrade, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll get people back into that Red Dead Redemption 2 hype, which is always fun. I mean, who doesn't like riding around on horseback in Lemoyne, hunting down some raiders?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's the one thing keeping me from playing right now is I kind of figured this was a thing, and it seems to have been confirmed. My thing is, it's the play with Red Dead Redemption 2 Next Gen. The play for Rockstar, the play for Microsoft and Sony is to coordinate this release in such a way that it is as lucrative as possible for them. Now, this is just a really roundabout way of saying they are probably going to announce or release Red Dead Redemption 2 PS5 upgrade when something else that they can make money off of is also coming out.
Yep.
AKA a DLC.
I don't know if it'll be around the time like GTA 6, but for sure it'll be around the time something else drops.
Maybe it adds some more hype to GTA 6 because they have some crossover this or that.
Is that possible? Be honest with me. Is it possible to be more hyped about GTA 6? Just saying it. We can keep rolling, obviously staying on topic, but I don't think there can be any more hype surrounding that game.
No, it's one of the longest standing online communities of all time, certainly for consoles.
For sure.
It's unbelievable. It came out on PS3, PS4, PS5. That's why it's so bizarre to me that there's no Red Dead Redemption. I can't say that word today. Red Dead Redemption 2 Next Gen upgrade, because we have a GTA 5 Next Gen update, but we don't have a Red Dead Redemption 2 Next Gen. Which is
weird.
I got it. I said
it. Which is weird.
It's really very weird. It's very weird.
I'm looking forward to the update though.
Yeah, but I just thought that was something quickly relevant because we had just mentioned it in the previous episode. So cool. Some more gaming news. this is courtesy of GameSpot.com, little website you may have heard of. Elder Scrolls 6 is not coming to PS5 and won't release until 2026 at the soonest. Microsoft seems to imply, again, this is another leak in Microsoft. Microsoft needs to watch the people who are having their phones out during these meetings.
No. Come on, man. Are you serious?
I'm
these
joking.
people inside these companies are doing this. They're allowing these people to
it's
do
a marketing
this.
ploy.
Of
You're right.
course
You're
it
right.
is. It's
You're
always
right.
has
You're right.
been.
You're right.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I agree. But yeah, it's kind of confirmed here. There's this chart. There was a tweet about it, and somebody leaked this chart out, and it's all their Bethesda games and Elder Scrolls 6. There's a big X by PlayStation coming to PlayStation. No,
are you mad?
Not happening.
Are you mad about that?
So here's how I feel about Elder Scrolls. It's a game that I want to love so much and want to sink my teeth in, and just like Grand Theft Auto 5.
Very good. I love that.
Right.
Nice
Just like Grand
words.
Theft Auto 5, this game has been made 800 different iterations. You have Elder Scrolls on Skyrim, I believe, was on PS3, right?
Yes.
Yes. It started on PS3 because I remember I played it a little bit on PS3. Then it came out on PS4. They just came out with a PS5 version for it. It's been on every console known to man. If they don't have a mobile version soon, I would be shocked. Not that I think that it could run mobile, but this game, Elder Scrolls 5, is regarded as one of the greatest games of all time in a lot of people's eyes. I just never got around to playing it. So, there's something kind of tricky where I want to play them, but I just don't for whatever reason. I think it's the some people love this about the games, the lack of polish or the just kind of weird antics that can happen in those games with weird NPC interactions. And for me, when I'm playing an RPG, I want the immersion. I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling. I'm going to toss the torch over to you. What do you feel about this game?
You're good. I think I'll just echo everything you said. And essentially, like you said, we've had so many iterations of the game. I wouldn't say they need to put it to bed, but just find a way to reinvent it. Find a way to do something different, which is hard in this day and age with games.
Yeah.
But not only that, I think Elden Ring kind of set the standard. It set the bar. Now, any and everything that you make has to be Elden Ring-esque. And if it's not, well, it's going to go right in the trash can.
Yeah, it's a much different game than Elden Ring, but they did kind of set the bar for open world games. I don't think I'm going to miss it. I don't really want to talk too much more about what Elder Scrolls 6 means as a game itself because it's not coming to PS5, so I probably won't be playing it.
So when they say that, does that mean they're ready to put it out on the next console that comes out, or it just won't make PS5?
It's not coming. So Microsoft owns Bethesda. Remember that big acquisition?
They acquired Bethesda.
Yes, it's something
I'm not mad about that.
It's something that we've talked about before on the podcast. But if those of you who don't know missed it, pretty much Microsoft is trying to create a monopoly with all these companies that they started to gobble up, and then Sony responded. Everybody thought they were gonna maybe do Konami, maybe buy Konami or buy Capcom. Made logical sense. They ended up buying...
Capcom would have been nice.
Yeah. They ended up buying Bungie, was the company they ended up buying. But they have already said they're not going to make...
Bungie makes Halo, right?
Bungie made the original, I believe, 3 or 4 Halo games. I'd have to look it up, but they definitely made the first 3. But they make Destiny. And they have already explicitly stated that they're not going to make Destiny a PlayStation 5 console exclusive. They're still going to offer it on the Xbox console. So there's a little bit, like I said, the console wars are in full form right now.
Is it a war?
Absolutely.
It a war?
Absolutely it is. I don't want to harp too much on it. I would love to get your take on it at some point, but I don't want to bore our audience because we have talked about it 50, 100 million times already.
It's
and
okay.
that is an actual number. 50, 100 million is an actual number.
Well, I think PlayStation is slaughtering Xbox. So
I do too, but it's so crazy. And we will say this and we will leave it here, and I will let you speak on this, and then we will move on to, I know you're very excited about the next topic.
Of course. Come on, man.
So here's the thing about this situation. PlayStation is winning as far as, in my opinion, the games and the sales. I would argue that they have more sales, and Xbox has less exclusive games, and the exclusive games that did come out, such as Redfall, completely tanked. Redfall was it flopped bad. And Deathloop, the same developer, Arcane, got a 10 out of 10 on almost every website. I don't know if it was quite a 10 out of 10, but that game was very, very good.
Yes, it was.
Anyway, they own Bethesda now. Arcane's under Bethesda, so that doesn't matter. We won't get another Arcane game, which is a tragedy. Having said all of this, Game Pass is financially such an amazing deal that I'm starting to kick myself for not having an Xbox. It's getting to that point because I just dropped $70 on Lies of P. And then I found out this game
is on Game Pass.
Game Pass, man. Yeah. There's another game I want to play right now, Cocoon.
It's $10 a month.
Yeah. Cocoon is from the people that made Inside and Limbo, if you know either of those games. This game's getting rave reviews as well. I wanted to check it out. It's $25. It's on PlayStation, or I could just, play it on my gaming PC because it's on Game Pass. So they have a library of games that PlayStation just cannot compete with. The difference is, though, Horizon, Spider-Man, The Last of Us are on PlayStation's catalog of extra tier PlayStation Plus games, which is their answer to Xbox Game Pass. So you're never going to get those games unless you have a gaming PC if you don't have a Sony console.
Yep.
So that's sort of the back and forth.
And those games are 1,000% worth it in terms of getting, for sure. So that's where they make up for it. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely. And we can go on and on about how Xbox has so much money and this and that, but Microsoft is bigger than video games. Microsoft is a massive company, as is Sony. Sony has, very many other big departments. They have movies, that are doing super well. They have, they're an entertainment sort of empire as well.
They are. They definitely
are. Microsoft is just dwarfs Sony. They really do. They make Sony look like a small baby company. So they have more money, but Sony has
more substance.
They're the boutique studio, if you will. They are where you go to get the great games, to get the gamer experience. That's why PS3 being such a whiff when it first launched was so completely unexpected,
100%.
And I had a launch PS3. I got it after my Xbox 360, admittedly, but it was, by the end, they figured it out, and PS4, obviously, they killed that whole generation. They destroyed Xbox. And I think that you're right. I think they're doing much better than Xbox right now in terms of games and what's coming out next and exclusives and community interactivity and just different approaches to things that they seem to have. All that being said, I think that that's a good segue into this Jim Ryan announcement. So I'm going to very smoothly move on to that topic, and then we'll circle back to Mortal Kombat. Jim Ryan is the president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, for those of you who live under a rock. He's gotten a lot of criticism over the few years that he's been in this position. He has announced that he's going to retire. This is courtesy of Sony Interactive Entertainment, or SonyInteractive.com. They say Jim Ryan, president and CEO, announces retirement after 30 years with Sony Interactive Entertainment. he has been the president for only a handful of those 30 years. However, for some reason, the internet seems to be thrilled that he is retiring. And he's made some questionable choices here and there. And no doubt that's a big part of the reason why the internet is so happy. But what do you have to say about this, Adonis? I could honestly take it or leave it, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't really care, but he seems like a nice enough guy.
He seems like a nice dude, which is cool, you know.
What do you have to say about Jim Ryan, president and CEO of Sony Interactive, retiring?
I mean, with these changes, obviously, they're important. Him being nice has no bearing on, you know,
I was just joking.
What he brings to us. You know, like when Last of Us was brought to us, it didn't matter. I'm like, whoever it is, bring us this game.
Sure.
I think the same as a parent. Obviously, you're grateful, and you know, we hold him in the highest regard because he ran one of the best companies in terms of developing games, in terms of taking these talented people with an idea and bringing it to a screen, putting it in our hands. And now it's like a passing of the torch. It's okay for whatever reason, you know, however you feel about him, the company goes on, and the company will still do what it needs to do. Whoever was Hiroki Totoki, whoever that is, the guy that will be appointed interim CEO, I welcome him with open arms, and I tell him, and I probably echo the same sentiment from pretty much every Sony fan out there, just keep doing what you're doing. Don't sell us short and give us what we deserve.
Yeah, no, that's very well said. Give us what we deserve. A lot of people don't hold him in high regard, though, so that's why, you know, I wanted to bring this up because a lot of people have a lot of people have criticized some of the things that he's done, some of the decisions that he's made. I think he was the president for the last 4 years, so he hasn't been there very long, but the PlayStation Now and the tiered PlayStation Plus subscriptions and all that stuff, you know, it's hard to criticize someone for something in hindsight. You know, that's my thing, is the direction that he took Sony in. He probably felt like it was the right business move at the time. The one criticism, my biggest criticism of Jim Ryan, is he's a little cringe. That's the only criticism I have.
Why is he cringe? I don't know. Please put me on.
He's just cringe. Unless this is something that somebody made up. I'm pretty sure this is a tweet from his Twitter. He said something like, I decided to retire because I want to play all those cool new PlayStation VR 2 games on my backlog. And I just thought that was really funny, but cringe at the same time.
Wait, did he actually say this?
I don't know. I
awesome.
saw this earlier today.
That would be absolutely awesome. I would love it. That'd be great.
Yeah, I think it might have been a joke. I'm not quite sure. Anyway,
a little weirdo.
I'm too lazy to look it up right now. I apologize to everyone, but I'm not looking it up. I don't care that much. Anyway, let's get into the meat of this episode, which is the Mortal Kombat 1 impression / review / whatever you want to call it.
Tell him, Anthony. Tell him.
We're going to do a tier list as well. For the very first time, pre-recorded live on the PSBlue Podcast.
You sound like the intro for Saturday Night Live.
Right? Yeah, we're gonna do a pre-recorded live. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I haven't eaten today. I'm tired.
Me neither. I gotta eat something.
Let's just dive right in. Tell me about Mortal Kombat 1. I know, before we get into the tier list, just talk to me about it. What's good? What's bad? Why is it so much better than Mortal Kombat 11? To sort of paraphrase what you mentioned earlier, what makes this game so good?
I'm gonna try to be short, but I can't make any promises. So I actually gained early access to the game via my premium edition purchase. For those who bought the premium edition of the game, you were given a 5-day early access privilege to play. So the reason I feel Mortal Kombat 1 right now is better than Mortal Kombat 11 is because of what it offers you. It's a brand new game. The ideas surrounding it are interesting. They're new. The combat system is brand new. And not to mention the way they're marketing the game. In the realm of fighting games, the one thing that's been really tough for players is that there is no monetary gain. And in the realm of gaming, it's becoming a sport. We know that because of some of the FPS competitions, the Fortnite competitions, and I'm pretty sure there are an array of other competitions. So when you're playing fighting games, if you're putting in your hard-earned time, if you're up late at night grinding, labbing, it should be paid for. So with Capcom announcing their Capcom Cup grand prize of $1 million, you're hoping that NetherRealm Studios can also mirror that or come close to it.
Is that, to interject really quickly, the $1 million prize pool, is that just for Street Fighter?
Yeah, it's just for Street Fighter 6.
Wow, that's nuts.
That's insane. And that's why Capcom wins, is because Capcom will take your money, but reinvest it into the players, which makes for a great game because it comes full circle. Mortal Kombat... Go ahead.
Not to interrupt you, but Capcom, on a little bit of a tangent, they make too many versions of their game. So they kind of do the money grubbing thing a little bit too much for my liking. But anyway.
But yeah, Mortal Kombat 1 has been absolutely beautiful. The campaign is beautiful. The cinematography, and I never thought I would bear witness to such a high level of cinematography in a video game story mode.
Really?
So yes, it is absolutely beautiful. And just the time with the game, the multiplayer, the characters, and the idea of the game hitting a hard reset. That's why it's called Mortal Kombat 1. Essentially, we're starting over again in a sense. So I think the game's beautiful, and I've had a lot of fun with this so far.
Nice. Is it related to the other games? Isn't it like a portal gets opened or something, some multiverse type thing? Isn't that what happens?
Yes. So essentially, at the end of Mortal Kombat 11,
spoilers
Liu Kang,
alert for
the game's been out
anyone?
5 years.
Just humor me. Let's just give them a spoiler alert. Go ahead. Mortal Kombat 11.
So in Mortal Kombat 11, Liu Kang defeats Kronika and becomes Fire God Liu Kang. In that, he gains access to the Hourglass, or it's literally a giant apparatus that has the sands of time inside of it. So what happens is he essentially dismantles it, and it restarts the universe that is Mortal Kombat. So what Liu Kang does is he restarts it. He builds a universe in his own vision almost. So that's what you're seeing, is that essentially the game has been reinvented. Raiden is no longer a Thunder God. Raiden is now a competitor in Mortal Kombat. Liu Kang is essentially now the god, Fire God Liu Kang. And so what happens is Liu Kang builds this universe, and of course, there are enemies that seek to dismantle that universe and to overthrow Liu Kang. And so that's what the story mode does, is it essentially picks up where MK11 left off, but in this kind of brand new world where, for example, even you probably know, Scorpion and Sub-Zero are sworn enemies.
Yeah, of course.
Well, in this game, they're brothers.
What?
Yeah, it's insane. Insane. And so with that, like I said, it's a brand new version of a continuation. So it's weird to hear. It's fun to play. And anyone who hasn't played the game, I would recommend they get their hands on it. You might not be the best when it comes to multiplayer, but the story mode is what it's for, and what it's doing great.
So the one thing that kind of puts me off to story mode campaigns in fighting games is a lot of the times it's just you're going through a gauntlet of characters as one character, then you play as another character, and then there's a story interspersed in between, and nobody does it better than NetherRealm. But what's the diversity in gameplay like? I'm just curious. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I just want to know. Is it just you're fighting one other character the entire game in the campaign, or is there other gameplay?
The diversity's through the roof. Essentially,
really?
Well, essentially, you're looking at the story unfold through the eyes of different characters. So you're able to see legacy characters that have returned. You're able to see new characters. And you're able to kind of get to the bottom of, well, who is doing what and why it's happening.
It's just 1v1, right? It's just 1v1 fighting the whole time. You don't fight hordes or anything. There's no new gameplay mechanic. That's all.
No.
That's all I was getting at.
None of that.
That's all I was getting at. But apparently a lot of fighting game fans love that because it lets you get exposed to all the characters in a very organic and natural way.
Absolutely.
So I guess, I'm just, like I said, I'm not a super fighting game fanatic. I have dabbled, but, it reminds me of Tekken campaigns. Because I know I brought up Tekken last week. Tekken would do horde mode and you would fight groups of weaker enemies and try different things with their campaign. The story was not very good, in my opinion, but they made up for that with diversity in gameplay mechanics that you could only get in the single player. If I'm remembering this correctly, don't at me because this could be completely wrong. But this is how I remember it. I can't remember what Tekken it was. I just remember the point I'm trying to make is make it appeal to more than just hardcore fighting game fans. And I think that generally speaking, NetherRealm is very good at that. I would just like to see some more diversity in gameplay. That's all I'm saying. I think Street Fighter 6 nailed it with the open world, map and all that stuff. That's sort of what my mind keeps going back to. I guess
definitely nailed it.
I think that was just so and I was skeptical of that at first. I was like, well, we don't need this big open world, but it works so well. It's almost kind of like reminded me a little bit of the Yakuza games, the way the open world was. I don't know if you played those, but it's kind of similar to that.
I watched plenty.
Yeah. Anyway, tangent. Continue. Mortal Kombat 1. If you had to right now estimate how many hours you've put into it, the game just came out. How many hours do you think you have in this one?
If I had to guesstimate how many hours I've put into the game, I would say probably somewhere around 60 hours, 50, 60
That's
hours.
a lot. The game just came out.
Yeah, I know.
You're dedicated. You're very dedicated.
Hey, it's not good. I'm not proud of it, but I love the game.
No, I mean, you want to get good though, to use a very cliche phrase, but you do. You do, and that's something I admire because I am not good at those games.
And
go ahead.
I mean, I have been getting better, but I'm nowhere where I need to be, for sure.
I think that if you put your mind to it, you could get there.
I hope so.
Especially since you're in on the ground floor, Okay, let's do it though. We're gonna do this tier list right now, live, on air.
I'm ready.
Okay, so we're just going to dive right into this. Mortal Kombat 1 tier list. This is what all the cool kids are doing nowadays, is tier list. So we're going to do one right now. Mortal Kombat 1 character tier list. Let's go. Okay, this is future Anthony coming back, and after much consideration, I think that you need to visually see the tier list in order for the in-depth explanation to make sense. So in this podcast form, what we're going to do is Adonis is just going to read off the tiers and the characters so you all know his list. And then you're going to have to go to the PSBlue YouTube channel to see the full explanation of the entire list. So Adonis, without further ado, tell us what your Mortal Kombat 1 character tier list is. Really quick, just rattle it off for us.
Okay, for all of the fighting game fans, for those who are particularly playing MK1, I hope you enjoy my list. If not, the game has only been out for 2 or 3 weeks, so fight me. S tier characters going from left to right: Ashura, Baraka, Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, Raiden, Kung Lao, Reiko, and Tanya. In the A tier, we're looking at Kenshi, Li Mei, Melina, Garrus, and Reptile. B tier characters, we're starting it off with Havoc, Rain, Scorpion, Shang Tsung, and Sindel. In C tier, because she did such a terrible job, Megan Fox, Nitara, and Shao Kahn. In D tier, rounding it out, Kitana, Sub-Zero, and Smoke.
So there you have it. That is the definitive, no questions asked tier list for this Mortal Kombat 1 game that just came out. No, I'm just kidding. Basically, Adonis was saying the entire time we made the tier list, he was pretty much hammering home how this list is fluid and the game has only been out for a little bit and people are going to start to figure out different combos with different characters. I'm paraphrasing, but I'm pretty sure that's the crux of it.
Yeah, people just essentially are going to hit the lab and find out things that we don't know now. That's essentially it.
Awesome. So that went really well, I think. We talked about Jim Ryan already. We're going to move on to our next topic, which is the PlayStation Portal. Now, when I mentioned this to you, you asked me, Anthony, what the heck is the PlayStation Portal? And I'm here to tell you. The PlayStation Portal is a handheld PlayStation 5. That is basically what it is. You have to be on SharePlay. Or, excuse me, I always say SharePlay. Remote Play. You have to be on Remote Play on your PS5. But from what I understand...
This is trash.
Let me finish it for
Go ahead.
viewers at home.
I'm waiting
listeners
patiently.
at home.
I'm waiting patiently.
What it is it's a handheld PS5 pretty much. It has haptics. It has all the triggers. It's like somebody took a PS5 controller, chopped it in half, and put a tablet in the middle. That's basically what it is. You have to be on, I believe, Wi-Fi, but I don't think you have to be on the same Wi-Fi as your PS5 from what I understand. I think that you can play it on, let's say you go to Starbucks. You can play it on Starbucks Wi-Fi. As long as your PS5 is connected to the internet, it will work. As far as I understand it. I might be misinterpreting the way that this works, but that's what it seems like. That's the way that they're marketing it, at least. Go ahead, Adonis. I know you're dying to say something, so go ahead.
Trash. That's all I have to say. I mean,
after all that, just trash.
Come on, man. Like, let's be honest. The best thing handheld that Sony ever made was the PSP. It was ahead of its time, and I wouldn't mind if they rebooted it. But this, trash. Give me the PSP again. I still have my old one somewhere with the SD card in it. I don't understand the point of this, and maybe that's because I'm just ignorant to the details of what it's going to do, but it just seems like I could get the same with a PSP with a modern twist to it.
So, the Vita, I would say, has remote play on it, and that's probably. Did you ever have a Vita? It wasn't very popular.
No, I heard about it. I remember when it came out, but the PSP just stole my heart, so I didn't want anything.
Yeah,
after that.
The Vita is a great handheld. It has an OLED screen. It's an amazing handheld. It doesn't have support anymore, but I think you can still use remote play on PS4. I doubt you could use it on PS5, but I haven't tested it out. Anyway, having said that, this is, I guess, their response to not having a handheld. It's $200.
Nope.
And it's a big screen and a PlayStation controller chopped in half. So, I mean, I'm still up in the air on how I feel about this. It sounds like you're all the way on
trash.
This is like they couldn't pay you to use this. It sounds like
not $200, Anthony. They could not. Absolutely not.
What if they gave you $200 to use it?
I still would be critical of it. Like, it's gonna need to blow
Sony,
me away.
you can sponsor us if you want. You could send $200 our way. I will buy one of these if I decide that it's something I want. I think that the price point is not great, but it's also not terrible, because when you consider the controllers, like, I think $70-$80, and it's that hardware. The tablet screen is only really $100+, a little on the other side of $100. My thing is, would I use it? Do I need it? Why should you have this?
Yeah, that's where. So I feel like I said I'm ignorant to some of the details of what it's going to do. I know you probably. There's no way that I know more than you about this thing. So I know you know more than me. Tell me a little bit about it if you can, and what it's going to do.
So it's basically you take your PS5 and you put it in your hands. You play 1080p versions of your games. That's all there is to it. I mean, there's nothing else to really say. It's like, so have you used remote play on your phone or your tablet or anything like that? Okay, so basically remote play is just a way to stream your games onto a device. It already works on mobile right now, so it's not very functional, unless you're playing something like a turn-based game or, they have a controller called the Backbone One that you can attach to your phone and turn your phone into basically what this PlayStation Portal is, but a smaller version of it, just not with the haptics and the nice analog sticks. But essentially, you're streaming games from your PlayStation 5 onto a smaller screen. Yeah.
So I guess my next question, because I have so many, why would we need that?
Right. That's my part. That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. And I see a couple of applications that stick out to me immediately. One, let's say you have a small apartment, or you have a 1-bedroom, which is probably going to be my case when I move. A 1-bedroom with one big TV. And you're fighting over the TV with your significant other or your sibling or what have you. You can play your PS5 game and they can watch their sports program or whatever, their reality TV show or Sister Wives or whatever they want to watch. They can do that.
I mean, yeah, that's a pretty specific scenario, but
right. Number two, and I'm just going to be completely candid with you, and I'm just going to come right out and say it. If I'm taking a dump, I can take my PS5 with me.
I'm gonna need
Number
to see
two,
no
pun intended. I didn't even. Wow, I wish I was that smart, but I did not. I did not mean it like that.
I'm gonna need a lot of Portal themed Charmin commercials because that's the only way it's gonna work.
That's number two. No pun intended. Pun totally intended. Let's be honest with ourselves. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got. But this is a PlayStation podcast. This is what they announced. It's available November 15th.
So here's the thing with the release day, right? It's obviously like a super money grab because the release day is November 15th. So everybody and their mother is
just in time for the holidays.
Obviously,
people that don't even understand what it is are going to just associate PlayStation with their, my child, my grandchild, my brother. They play video games. PlayStation, $200, perfect price point. Let me go buy this for them.
Yeah, and I just don't.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, I'm not getting the relevancy for it, especially for $200. No, I'm okay. They can keep this. I won't be getting it. If I need to take a dump, I'll just hit the pause button. Simple. If I'm
that's gonna be the quote of the week. If I need to take a dump, I'll just press the pause button.
Yeah, I don't
put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, I don't really need. I mean, that's a next level. I guess to each his own. I won't be getting it. What about you, Anthony?
I highly doubt I'll buy this. I highly doubt it. I want one, but I don't want it $200 enough. You know what I mean? Like the idea of playing PS5 in bed on a screen, winding down right before I fall asleep, that appeals to me. But I don't need it. And I don't need
it either.
It's a peripheral that is. It's a money grab. You're absolutely right. My thing is though, how much money could they be making on this? The controller they sell for $80. This LCD screen must not be very good. It's a 1080p 8-inch monitor. So apparently it has decent picture quality. It's not OLED or anything, but I'm confused. What do you think the margins on this device are?
Probably
They can't
not
be that
good.
great.
No, probably not good. I mean, you have to think like you said, the parts, right? Whatever it is they're spending to make a PS5 controller, it essentially is the same.
Yeah.
And they're adding in this LED screen. The margins can't be that good.
Yeah, I don't fully get it.
I don't get it in the slightest. I just think it's a waste of time, marketing, and money. I mean, there are so many requirements. Like you're telling me, like, hey, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I hate to do this on the fly, but now what I'm reading on PlayStation.com, this little marketing PlayStation blog-esque little website that they have for it, it says right here, quote, since PlayStation Portal Remote Player lets you stream games over your home Wi-Fi, you can play your PS5 console even when someone else is using the TV it's connected to. Simply turn on PlayStation Portal Remote Player and you're good to go. With PlayStation Portal Remote Player on your home Wi-Fi connection, you have more flexibility to play in any room where you live with no TV required. End quote. So what I'm thinking that means is, scratch what I said earlier, I don't think you can take it off
of your house.
This makes even less sense to me.
That's terrible. It's a terrible idea.
But I mean, because I watched a video about it and they made it seem like you could take it somewhere else in a different location and stream it from your PS5 at home. But I'm a little bit unclear on it now after reading this.
The fact that they have to, the fact that even consuming that information, you're confused, just goes to show how irrelevant the product's going to be. There's really no like application for it in your regular daily life. I don't think there is.
Why don't they just make a new handheld?
Or they could just reboot the living crap out of the PlayStation Portable. PSP. Just do it. I'm okay with it.
What do you mean? What is, like, make a PSP 2?
You would buy it. That thing was so ahead of its time. You could put music on it. It had a web browser on it. You could customize it. The background screen.
What are you talking about? That's just your phone. Like, you have all that in your phone now. Why?
Well, I mean, like PlayStation games. You can't play PlayStation games on your iPhone. You can't do that. I think that alone is a selling point. Just make it portable and add everything else with it.
I don't know. I think you're smoking something interesting on this. The Vita is the PSP 2. You know what I mean?
I didn't play the Vita. How was that?
The Vita, it's like I said, it's a really good console. It just doesn't have a life anymore, really. Like there's no games coming out for it anymore, and there's no PlayStation Store support anymore. But I don't know if we need to reboot the PSP. Why don't we just make a PSP 3?
You think so?
You know what I mean?
I'm okay with
I don't
that.
need music. I don't need a web browser. I need quality games that can also do this remote play thing. You know what I mean? Because
I like that.
The Vita can do the remote play thing, but I'm not running out to buy a thing that is just a tablet with two controllers, with half a controller attached on each side of it.
Yeah, you need more.
It's weird.
I 100% agree. You need more. You're right.
I will say this. I'll push back a little bit here, and I will say this. If you haven't tried remote play, I would give it a shot because it does work really, really well. I think about games like Madden, for example, which I used to play a lot of Madden. I don't so much anymore because of, if you listen to this podcast, you know why we don't like Madden anymore. But I will say this. If I was trading players in franchise mode or something, I could just go on my phone in bed and do that from my bedroom. You know, I'm not going to play a game that way, but I can do tertiary things in very specific instances in the comfort of my bed or in a different room that isn't where my PlayStation 5 is located. It's nice for that. And SharePlay does work really well. I use it a lot. My PlayStation 4 is in my bedroom, and I will use my PS4 controller and my PS4, and I will stream my PS5 a lot. I would say I probably do it almost every night.
Really?
So it's like having another PS5 in your bedroom, pretty much. I mean, you don't have the haptic feedback on the controller, and every once in a while there's a little bit of lag, but I would say at least in my scenario with my internet connection, it works almost seamlessly. I've played entire games like that. Yeah. So the technology is there. I just don't know if there's a huge market for this particular iteration of it.
Yeah, you're right. Especially with what's come out, we're not living in that age where it's groundbreaking. Like you have so many other handheld ideas. Like, yeah, you're right.
But yeah, shout out SharePlay. I mean, the next thing that's sort of attached to this topic is you can now stream PS5 games on your Chromecast with Google TV, and apparently you can use your controller. So you can do exactly what I just said the PS4 can do with a PS4 controller with just a Chromecast, and you can actually use the PS5 controller. That's really cool.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah. So if you don't have a PS4 already, you can just buy one of these $30 Google sticks and have two PS5s, one in your bedroom and one in your living room.
And it works out pretty good for you.
It does on the PS4. I don't know if it's going to be... this, by the way, is courtesy of AndroidCentral.com. That's where I got this information from. So it's supposedly real. If it works like it works on the PS4, it's going to be seamless. If your internet connection is, I would say,
is good enough,
decent. I don't think it has to be unbelievable. I don't have an unbelievable internet connection in our apartment here. It's just average. So it's a really cool feature that not enough people use, I would say. Again, PlayStation Portal, no idea why we need that.
I wish you could see your face when you said that.
I gave you my best guesses.
It was so stoic. You were just like, yeah, I really don't understand. But let's I've been kind of excited, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I want to know more about I'm not gonna spoil it. I want you to kind of segue into it.
Sure.
But I really want to hear more about the bottom one. The last
the bottom one? Okay. Yeah. I was just gonna segue into it. Listen, trust in your host. Okay? I got this. I was going to go right there to Liza. I'm just kidding. I don't care. You can segue us in. What's the next topic, Adonis?
No, it's your game. I would never do that.
What's the next topic? I want you to say it.
It's a game that has a lot of positive feedback, and I've been told by many to go and play it, and I'm looking forward to it, and I really, really want to play it. I'm being serious. It's a game called Lies of P, and it just so happens that our host, Anthony, has played an extensive amount of time, or has had an extensive amount of time on the game. So without any further ado, I'm going to kick it to him, and I want him to tell not only the audience, I want you to tell me, okay? Just like I sold you on Dante's Inferno, I want you to sell me. And I want to hear more about this game.
I think it sells itself, first of all. I do want to say, you're coming for my job, I see, teeing up that next topic like that. I don't love it, but good job.
Thank you.
I'm just kidding. So, Lies of P. Let's just dive right in. This game it's legit. It's the one. It is the one. It is the game that knocks it out of the park.
What do you mean by since we have games, and this is just me because I really want you to sell me, and you damn sure gonna sell me. I'm gonna make sure of it. When you say the one with other games, because it looks kind of like an Elden Ring kind of Souls game, and I could have swore Elden Ring was the one. So what do you mean by the one?
Well, Elden Ring was made by FromSoft. What I mean by the one is this is the closest we've ever come to a game made by another developer that plays, looks, feels, and smells like a FromSoft game. That's what I mean by the one. Elden Ring is the one of the greatest games of all time. Yeah, no. The one in this context is imitation is the greatest form of flattery, and Lies of P imitates, and I'm not using that word in a negative way. I want to be very clear about that. It imitates Bloodborne, Sekiro, Dark Souls to the T. I'm talking the menus, the font of the items and character, like subtitles of the characters, obviously the combat, the presentation, just the way that you level up. You level up by talking to a kind of ominous person in a hub world where you can change your equipment and stuff. It's exactly the same as a FromSoft game. It's like somebody asked the developers, hey, can you make a FromSoft game but not be FromSoft? Be your developer, but do exactly what FromSoft does with their Souls games. And they absolutely crushed it and knocked it out of the park. They really did. On top of that, it has its own unique spin on it, but it doesn't have a spin on it just for the sake of doing something different and new like all these other Souls-likes tend to sort of bloat us with. You know, I think of Steel Rising, I think of Thymesia, I think of all these. There were 3 games that we had talked about, and this was the third one, and this was the one that came out last. This is going back to episode 1 of our podcast. This was the third Souls-like, and this was the one that Vinny and I were both highest on, that we thought looked the most like it could give a Souls game a run for its money, and it absolutely does. It nailed it. I played 2 minutes of the demo, and I knew it.
You knew instantly.
Yeah, it's so to wrap it up, because I'm kind of just harping on the same point. I'm rambling. I apologize. To wrap it up, it executes everything about a Souls game without being a complete copy paste, but it does it so well. It appreciates it. They have this clear appreciation for what the Souls games are, and it comes through 100-fold. Now, what does that mean for you, Adonis? What does that mean for you if you want to play this game? What can I tell you? Move past this is literally FromSoft, but FromSoft didn't make it. It's like FromSoft ghost wrote this game or something and then gave it to this developer and let them put their name on it. That's as simply put as I can make it. What does that mean for you? The game has awesome combat. It has a great world to explore. I'm about 10 hours in, and I already know it's going to be in the Game of the Year conversation for me. Let me ask you this. Have you played any of the other Souls games?
I played Dark Souls 3, a little bit of it.
Did you beat it?
No.
Okay.
I ended up playing a few hours of it.
You beat Elden Ring, though, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Elden Ring was basically your first real exposure to a Souls game. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a more linear version of Elden Ring. That's the easiest way to kind of describe it from your perspective.
You're putting a lot on this game, man.
Yeah, it
looks, I mean, from what I'm looking at, it does look very good.
It is. It's really good. It's really good. The thing that it's not even that it's so unbelievably good that you have to run out and go play it right now. It's just, I'm so impressed by how well they nailed the tone and vibe of everything that FromSoft does. And they did it and put their own spin on it. You know, there's it's Pinocchio. It's the story of Pinocchio. So there's different twists on you being a puppet, and you have to lie in situations, and it has its own kind of unique spin on that story. You have a puppet arm that you can customize. So it does its own thing. I don't want to make it seem like it just took the Souls formula and completely duplicated it. I mean, the vibe of it, the aesthetic of it, just the delivery process is very Souls without being copy paste. It rides that line perfectly. It really does.
Who made this game?
It's a South Korean studio.
Wow, not a mainstream studio.
No, it's it starts with an N. I want to say, let me,
So
I'll
how
look it up real
did,
fast.
I mean, I don't mean to ask so many questions because
No, you're good. You're good.
Well,
That's what we're here for. This is our last topic too. So
how do they nail a game like this? How do they do it? I mean, I'm not saying you have the answers, but the fact that this game is so highly regarded, it's so good. How does that happen?
okay. So it's NeoWiz Games, I believe, is the publisher, and Round 8 Studios, I believe, is the developer. So to answer your question, the way that a studio can do a Souls game justice like this is by being completely obsessed with Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and Elden Ring. That's the only way. The only way it comes out like this is if they love those games, in my opinion.
You're right, and I think that's kind of where their inspiration comes from, because this game is a hit. And you don't want these games to obviously take the place of Elden Ring and Dark Souls and Bloodborne, but it's refreshing because you're like, man, this isn't made by FromSoft, but it's good, and it's like really good.
Right. And the last thing I'll say on that point is the reason why this is such a big deal is because like you're into the fighting game scene. I'm into the Souls-like scene, like so deep. I've played so many Souls-likes, and they never get this close to the real thing. It's like eating imitation crab that tastes like real crab 100%. Whenever you eat imitation crab, you know it tastes like imitation crab. There's still that little hint of whatever,
Fakeness.
factory made something.
Fakeness.
It doesn't, right, fakeness. There you go. It doesn't taste like the real thing. This does not taste like imitation crab, but it is. It tastes like real crab. That's all I'm trying to say. It feels like a FromSoft game, but it feels like the next FromSoft game. It doesn't feel like a copy paste of everything else. And the problem is you have games like Spiders is an underrated studio that they make a lot of really creative games, right? They made the Greedfall game. Some of their games, Greedfall was probably their best received game in a while, but they made this game Steel Rising, and it was a Souls-like. It was their first Souls-like. It wasn't their first RPG, but it was their first Souls-like game, and it was good, right? It was decent. It was better than I thought it was going to be. It looked like it was going to run like absolute trash, but it actually comes out, and it's actually pretty good. But it didn't feel like this game feels. It felt like a developer that was trying to make their own thing that at the very last second decided, hey, let's turn this into a Souls-like because there's a market for that. You know what I mean? This Lies of P game was made out of pure love for Souls games. And that's why it's so good.
You're a connoisseur of these kind of games.
Yes.
You can tell when the time, the effort, the genuity goes into something like this, because as of a hit this game is, there have been plenty that have been misses.
Absolutely. And even the ones that aren't this good have been hits, I would say. And, just because something misses commercially doesn't mean that it's a miss critically, and vice versa, right?
Okay.
So I think this one is, I haven't done a ton of research, but I think it's both. I think critics and consumers are both very high on Lies of P. And it's because it rides that line. I hate to just say the same thing over and over again, but it's true. It rides that line of imitation and originality. So paper thin. It's so close to being imitation just for the sake of imitation, but it's not. It has its own original thing, and it's great. And if you played Elden Ring and you beat Elden Ring and you have anything to say positively about Elden Ring, you will like this game. It's linear. So that's, I would say, coming back to just your perspective. This is where Elden Ring is a big open world and you can explore all these very in-depth areas and just let your imagination run wild. This is linear. You go from this level to this level to this level to this level, and it has its advantages and disadvantages. The advantage here is it is a very directed experience it's directed by the developers, not by the player. The disadvantage there is obviously that you have less freedom, but it depends why you loved Elden Ring. Did you like it for the combat? Did you like it for the crazy bosses? Or did you like it for just the exploration? Or was it both? I
loved it for all three things.
Then you will love this game. I'm telling you, it's a no-brainer. Go buy it right now.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's on Game Pass. So if you have an Xbox, you get it for free, but
that's garbage.
It's really annoying. But
garbage.
I paid $70. This is a topic that I'm getting gassed here. So, I'm starting to ramble a little bit, but I want to bring this topic up next week.
You want to kind of finish it off next week?
No. Another topic that I want to bring up next week, because you brought this point up as well with the premium editions of games and getting early access. What a massive cash grab that is. And they got me with Lies of P. I wanted to play it so bad. They got me a day early.
We know it is. And we still
I know,
get
but
it.
hold your thought. I want to talk about this next week, because I can go off on a whole tangent on that, and I don't even want to get riled up. So
have we given them enough this week?
Absolutely. This is going to be a pretty meaty episode. We're going to take out that tier list. So if you're looking for it again, go to our YouTube channel, PSBlue, all one word on YouTube. You'll find us right there, and you're going to see Adonis give a very detailed, very thorough breakdown of all the characters in Mortal Kombat 1. We also have for your consideration that will be coming back pretty soon. I explained it to Adonis before we started recording. He said that he was, he agreed that he would do it, right? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're down to do for your consideration?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, great. So we're going to do that, and we'll start off with just a, wild card genre where we just pick whatever we want. And for those of you who are first-time listeners, for your consideration is just a segment where we give each other 2 weeks to play a game and sort of review it. We could beat it. We could maybe just play an hour of it and say this sucks really bad and I hate it. It just depends. It's a consideration. That's why it's called For Your Consideration. So that's really all there is to it. That will go at the end of every episode going forward. But other than that, I mean, this is really it. I am extremely tired and extremely hungry, and I just want to thank you for making it this far into the episode if you did, because I know I've been rambling for the last 47 minutes. Adonis, what do you have to say to these lovely people? Thank you again for coming back this week.
I think you used the correct descriptor. This is a very meaty episode. There was a lot of topics, but it was a lot of fun, because it's always great to highlight these topics, because I don't feel like they get talked about enough. As far as the CEO stepping down, his replacement coming in, Lies of P, the Mortal Kombat 1 tier list, which I think these are things that are just so relevant. And Lies of P, I mean, you sold me.
Gotcha.
I mean, it looks good, and I think the biggest selling point is that you go, if you loved Elden Ring, you have no choice but to love this game.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, to just put it that way, I think I'll have to be getting this. Game.
Yeah, I'm very, very high on Lies of P, if you couldn't tell. But that's it for this episode of the PSBlue Podcast. We will see you all next week. Have a great day, night, wherever you're at watching this episode. I'm going to go get some sleep.
And some food.
All right.
All right, guys. Catch you later.
Goodbye.